Have you ever looked at someone in their late 70s or early 80s and thought, how are they still so full of life? Maybe it's your neighbor who still jogs in the morning. Or perhaps it's someone you know who just radiates energy and clarity even after retirement. And then on the other side, you've seen people around the same age who are constantly tired, forgetful, or battling one health issue after another. You start to wonder, is this just chance? Is it all about good genes? Or is there something deeper? Something that lies in the choices we make every single day. The truth is, it's not a mystery. It's not luck. And it's not something you can only get from a doctor's prescription. The real difference often comes down to a handful of small, consistent habits. Quiet daily rituals, mindful decisions that may seem simple on the surface, but hold tremendous power when it comes to aging well. These aren't miracle cures or overnight solutions. They're deeply human behaviors backed by research, by experience, and by the lived stories of older adults who are thriving well into their golden years. In this video, we're diving into 6 surprising daily habits, routines you might already be doing without realizing their impact. Or perhaps you've overlooked them entirely thinking they're too small to matter. But don't be fooled. These habits have been observed in seniors who not only live longer, but do so with energy, independence, and a sense of joy. And what's even more fascinating is that these are not expensive, complicated changes. In fact, they often begin with nothing more than awareness, a single conscious action, a shift in your thinking. You might be wondering if it's too late. If change at your age can really make a difference, let me assure you it's never too late. Your body and mind are more adaptable than you think. The choices you make today, yes, even today, can start writing a new story for your health tomorrow. Whether you're 70, 75, or even 85, the opportunity to improve your well-being is still in your hands. So I invite you to stay with us through this journey. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with not just information, but inspiration, a fresh perspective, and maybe, just maybe, the motivation to reclaim more vibrant years ahead. One of these 6 habits might even surprise you, and it could be the one thing you've been overlooking it all along. Let's begin. Your future self will thank you for it. Habit 1, your morning mindset. How you begin each morning can shape your entire day and over time, shape your entire life. Especially after 70, those first few minutes after waking are more powerful than most people realize. They're not just about what time you rise or whether you drink tea or coffee. They're about your mindset, your emotional tone, and the intention you set before stepping into the world. Seniors who begin their mornings with a sense of calm gratitude or even a few slow breaths have been found to experience greater emotional resilience, steadier moods, and even improved heart health. Let me introduce you to Marvin, a 76-year-old retired music teacher who lives in a quiet suburb just outside Asheville, North Carolina. A few years ago, Marvin's mornings were filled with noise, the buzzing of his phone, the constant scroll of news, and the mental checklist of all the things he thought he had to do. He didn't realize it at the time, but this rushed, reactive way of starting his day was leaving him feeling anxious, drained, and disconnected. He thought it was just a normal part of aging. Then one morning after a particularly restless night, Marvin sat down by his window instead of reaching for his phone. He noticed the way the sunlight fell on the grass. He listened to the soft sound of birds outside, and for the first time in a long while, he simply sat. No rushing, no distractions. He breathed slowly. He whispered a simple thank you for the new day. It lasted less than 5 minutes, but it changed something inside him. From that day on, Marvin began a new ritual. Every morning before breakfast or checking the news, he steps outside for a slow 10-minute walk. Sometimes he prays. Sometimes he thinks about his wife who passed away years ago and sends her a silent message. And sometimes he simply listens to the wind. This quiet beginning doesn't solve all of life's challenges, but it gives him a strong, steady foundation to face them. The science backs this up. Starting your day with a moment of gratitude or mindful breathing has been shown to lower cortisol, the stress hormone linked to high blood pressure, poor sleep, and accelerated aging. It signals to your body that you are safe, in control, and ready. It doesn't take an hour. Sometimes all it takes is a pause, a breath, and a thought that reminds you you're still here and that today is a gift. So tomorrow morning, take a page from Marvin's story. Don't rush, don't scroll, just sit, just breathe, and just be present. That simple habit might quietly change your whole day and in time, your entire future. Habit 2, your water intake. Water may seem simple, even forgettable, but for seniors, staying hydrated is one of the most powerful habits for preserving health and vitality. After the age of 70, your body naturally retains less water. Your sense of thirst weakens, and before you even notice it, dehydration begins to affect your memory, energy, mood, and even your heart and kidneys. It's a slow decline that many mistake for normal aging, but it's often a sign that the body is quietly begging for hydration. Let's talk about Janice, a 79-year-old former florist living in Prescott, Arizona. Janice had always been active. Even after retirement, she loved tending to her rose garden, taking short hikes, and volunteering at the local animal shelter. But a couple of years ago, she started feeling different, more tired in the mornings, lightheaded, when she stood up, and even a bit forgetful at times. She brushed it off at first, chalking it up to age. But the fatigue didn't go away. In fact, it got worse. Her doctor ran some tests and ruled out any major issues. But during a routine follow-up, he asked a simple question. "Janice, how much water are you drinking every day?" She paused, then laughed nervously. "Probably not enough," she admitted. "I drink my coffee in the morning, sometimes tea in the afternoon, but I guess I don't really drink water unless I'm really thirsty." That's when things began to change. Her doctor encouraged her to carry a small water bottle throughout the day and set gentle reminders to take a sip every hour. Janice committed to drinking at least 6 to 8 cups of water daily, more when she was outside or feeling tired. Within a week, the fog began to lift. She felt clearer, more alert. Her energy in the mornings returned, and the dizziness stopped altogether. Her skin even began to feel softer, and her eyes looked brighter. Water is life. It nourishes your brain, cushions your joints, supports your kidneys, and keeps your entire system functioning smoothly. And yet it's something many older adults unintentionally neglect. Unlike hunger, thirst in the elderly often whispers instead of shouts. That's why proactive hydration is so essential. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. Sip throughout the day. Make it part of your rhythm, just like brushing your teeth or taking your morning walk. So if you've been feeling sluggish, foggy, or just not like yourself, ask the same question Janice was asked: how much water are you really drinking? You might be surprised how such a small change can bring such a powerful shift. Because sometimes the path back to vitality starts with something as simple as a glass of water. Habit 3, your curiosity. Staying curious isn't just a trait for the young. It's a habit that keeps the mind vibrant and the spirit alive well into old age. When we challenge our brains with something new, whether it's learning a skill, solving a puzzle, or diving into a new subject, we give our minds the exercise they need to stay sharp. Research shows that older adults who continue to engage in mentally stimulating activities are significantly less likely to develop dementia or experience rapid cognitive decline. But beyond the science, there's something deeply human about remaining a lifelong learner. Let's look at the story of Leonard, an 82-year-old retired engineer living in Asheville, North Carolina. Leonard had always been analytical by nature. His career was full of blueprints, calculations, and problem solving. But after retirement, life slowed down. The days blurred together. He watched more television than he used to, napped often, and felt his memory slipping. He wasn't forgetting people's names or misplacing important things, but something felt duller, slower. His daughter Rebecca noticed too. She suggested he join a local community workshop that offered beginner-level courses for older adults, anything from woodworking to creative writing to painting. At first, Leonard resisted. "I'm not an artist," he chuckled. "I've spent my life with numbers, not brushes." But eventually, after some coaxing, he signed up for a watercolor painting class that met every Thursday morning. That small decision changed his entire rhythm. At the beginning, he struggled. Mixing colors frustrated him. His hand wasn't as steady as it once was. But little by little, something awakened inside him. He began watching online tutorials, sketching between classes, and even reading about different painting techniques. He noticed his focus returning. His days felt more purposeful, and after 2 months, he completed his first full landscape, a vibrant rolling hillscape with a golden sky. It wasn't perfect, but it was his, and it made him feel alive again. Leonard's memory improved. His energy lifted. His conversations with friends and family became more animated. The simple act of picking up a new skill, one he never thought he'd try, revived his brain and reignited his sense of wonder. That's the beauty of curiosity. It reminds us that no matter how many birthdays we've celebrated, there's still more to discover. You don't have to become a master. You just have to begin. Whether it's learning to play a musical instrument, taking up photography, writing short stories, or simply reading about something new, your brain thrives on fresh challenges. So ask yourself, when was the last time you tried something for the first time? Maybe now is the perfect time to explore the unknown. Because a curious mind doesn't just age slower, it lives deeper. Habit 4, how you spend the afternoon. What you do in the hours after lunch. Those slow, quiet afternoons might seem insignificant, but for older adults, how you spend that time can shape everything from blood sugar control to cardiovascular health and overall energy levels. It's not about exhausting workouts or rigorous schedules. It's about intentional light movement and avoiding prolonged stillness. Even small choices like stretching, tidying up, or stepping outside for a breath of fresh air can make a powerful difference. Let me introduce you to Janice, a 74-year-old retired music teacher who lives in a cozy bungalow in Bellingham, Washington. For years after retiring, Janice fell into a habit that many seniors do after lunch. She'd curl up in her favorite armchair with the television on, meaning to rest for just a few minutes. But those minutes often turned into hours. Some days she'd wake up from long naps feeling groggy, disoriented, and even more tired than before. Her legs felt heavier, her joints ached, and her blood sugar readings began to creep up. Janice's doctor gently warned her that extended afternoon inactivity, especially right after eating, was contributing to her sluggishness and her rising glucose levels. It was a hard realization to accept. She hadn't felt like she was doing anything wrong, but deep down she knew her energy had been fading and something needed to change. So she started small. The day after her appointment, she set a simple goal: take a 10-minute walk after lunch. She didn't push herself to go far, just around the block. Then a few light stretches near the garden bed, then tending to her flowers with a watering can. These became her new rituals. Over the weeks, something shifted. She began sleeping better at night. Her digestion improved. The stiffness in her joints softened, and perhaps most importantly, her spirit felt lighter. Those afternoon walks turned into small moments of joy, watching the squirrels race across the fence, feeling the breeze brush against her face, saying hello to a neighbor passing by. She even started calling her sister during her walks, using that time to reconnect and laugh. These brief interactions, moments she used to spend alone asleep in a recliner, now became some of the most meaningful parts of her day. Janice's transformation wasn't dramatic or overnight, but it was real. The simple act of replacing a nap with light movement gave her afternoons a new rhythm and gave her health a second wind. So ask yourself, how are you spending your afternoons? Are you giving your body the motion it craves, or has the habit of stillness silently settled in? Because the hours after lunch aren't just downtime. They're a chance to wake your body up again, to stretch, to move, and to live. Habit 5, your conversations. There's something quietly powerful about the sound of another voice, especially one that calls you by name. As we grow older, it's easy to underestimate the value of daily conversation. But for seniors, regular, meaningful interaction isn't just pleasant, it's life-extending. It keeps the brain active, tempers feelings of loneliness, and helps regulate emotions that can otherwise spiral in isolation. Take the story of Leonard, a 77-year-old widower living just outside Asheville, North Carolina. After his wife passed 3 years ago, Leonard found his days becoming increasingly silent. At first, he told himself he enjoyed the peace, but as months passed, the quiet turned heavy. Without anyone to talk to, his thoughts seemed to echo louder. He stopped going to the diner where he and his wife once had breakfast. Phone calls with friends became shorter. Some days he wouldn't speak to anyone at all. The silence began affecting his mood and his memory. He'd forget simple things like where he left his keys or whether he'd taken his medication. But the hardest part wasn't the forgetfulness. It was the sense of fading, as if he were slowly disappearing from the world around him. Then one Saturday afternoon, his daughter Julia came for a visit. She sat him down and asked gently, "Dad, when's the last time you had a real conversation with someone?" He paused. He answered, "Last month." That hit them both hard. Julia helped Leonard join a local senior book club that met every Wednesday. He was reluctant at first. He hadn't read a full book in years, but she signed him up anyway. The first meeting was awkward, filled with unfamiliar faces and small talk. But something happened. Someone asked his opinion. He responded. They listened. He smiled. Week after week, Leonard returned. He started calling old friends, inviting neighbors over for coffee, and even reconnected with a buddy from the Navy who lived 2 towns over. The sound of laughter returned to his living room. He found himself looking forward to Wednesdays, to sharing stories, to being part of something again. Conversations, he realized, were not just about talking, they were about belonging. They helped him process grief, rebuild confidence, and feel seen again. That human connection once lost and had been gently stitched back together with every word, every chuckle, every shared memory. So ask yourself, how often do you speak to someone with genuine presence and intention? Not a text or a quick hello, but a real conversation. Because in those moments, you're not just talking, you're strengthening your mind, your spirit, and your connection to the world around you. Your voice matters. Use it. Let others hear it. It could be the very thing that brings you back to life, one word at a time. Habit 6, what you reflect on before bed. The final few minutes before you close your eyes can quietly shape the way your body heals and your mind rests. For many seniors, nighttime becomes a battlefield of thoughts, regrets from the past, anxieties about health, or worries about family. But what if changing just one habit before sleep could transform the way you feel each morning? Meet Eleanor, a 76-year-old woman living in the peaceful town of Traverse City, Michigan. She had always been a light sleeper, but after her husband passed and her children moved farther away, her nights turned restless. She'd toss and turn, staring at the ceiling, her mind replaying every conversation she wished had gone differently, every moment she feared was slipping away. It felt like her bed had become a prison, not a place of rest. Every morning she'd wake up groggy, her thoughts still heavy, her body aching with exhaustion. She tried chamomile tea, soft music, even changing mattresses, but nothing truly worked. Her doctor said her vitals were fine, but Eleanor knew something deeper was missing. One day at her local library, she stumbled upon a talk given by a retired sleep therapist. The woman spoke about a nightly practice of gratitude journaling, not just writing down things that went well, but actually pausing to reflect emotionally on moments of joy, however small. Gratitude, she said, isn't a list. It's a feeling you choose to visit before sleep. That night, Eleanor took a notebook and began a new habit. She wrote, "I'm grateful the neighbor's dog barked. It reminded me I'm not alone. The next night, I'm thankful for the sun that came through the window. It warmed my hands." Each night, she wrote 3 small things, letting herself feel the peace in those memories. Slowly, something shifted. Her thoughts became less frantic. Her breathing slowed naturally. She no longer dreaded bedtime. Instead, she looked forward to it as a moment of reflection, connection, and comfort. Within 2 weeks, Eleanor found herself sleeping through the night for the first time in years. Her mornings became lighter, her eyes brighter. She no longer felt lost in the shadows of the past, but grounded in the quiet joys of the present. Today, Eleanor swears by her gratitude pages. She says they are like a conversation with her own heart, one that whispers, "You are still here. You are still blessed." What changed wasn't her mattress, her medication, or her schedule. It was the way she framed her day's end. So ask yourself tonight, what are you choosing to carry into your sleep? Because the thoughts you fall asleep with don't just affect your dreams, they shape your healing, your energy, and your tomorrow. Make your last thoughts count. Let them lift you, not weigh you down. Final thoughts. Now that you've walked with us through these 6 quietly powerful habits, the question is, what will you take with you into tomorrow? Maybe you're like James, a 72-year-old retired school principal from Asheville, North Carolina. For years, James believed his health was mostly determined by doctors' medications or just the cards life dealt him. But recently, after his 3rd knee surgery and a bout of seasonal depression, he began to look closer at the little things, the small decisions he made each day that no one else saw, but that added up to how he felt, how he moved, and how he aged. He realized that while he couldn't turn back time or erase past mistakes, he could wake up and take 5 minutes for gratitude. He could drink more water and stay curious. He could take short walks after lunch instead of falling asleep in front of the television. And most of all, he could start ending his nights with peace, not pressure. He could reconnect with a friend and choose reflection over rumination. James now says he doesn't feel younger, but he feels lighter. His body might have some limits, but his spirit, his mindset, that's where he's found freedom. You don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need a gym membership, a perfect diet, or expensive treatments. What you need is to notice. Notice what your body is quietly trying to tell you. Because the truth is, it whispers long before it screams. If you're always tired, if your mind feels foggy, if your energy seems gone by noon, those aren't just random inconveniences. They're signals. Gentle reminders that your body needs attention, not neglect. So now we ask you, which habit spoke to you most today? Was it the morning gratitude, the power of hydration, the spark of curiosity, the importance of light movement, the strength of connection, or the stillness before sleep? Each one may seem small, but each one holds the potential to reshape how you experience your days and your years. Leave a comment below and tell us which habit you're going to start with. If this video gave you something to reflect on, even just a single moment that made you pause and think, comment yes below. If not, just give us a like to support our mission to bring practical, thoughtful health tips to your screen. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe and turn on the bell icon. You won't want to miss the next life-changing insight we prepared just for you. Because your future isn't far away, it begins right now with the next small step you take.